For everything there is a season, and a time and a purpose for every matter under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to keep silent, and a time to speak. For everything there is a season, and a time and purpose for every matter under heaven. We come together on this evening to celebrate the life of Christy Lynn Stossmeister. And on behalf of Christy and her family, I welcome you to this service. We've come to mourn and remember Christy as a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a cousin, and friend. Christy has lived in our hearts and shall live there forever. We know very well that death is a part of our lives, that life and death, in fact, twine around each other. They're inseparable. We know as we learn to love one another that eventually our love will include loss and grief. Because no matter how lucky we are in our lives, no matter how long we live, saying goodbye will come to each of us. All our knowing doesn't make it any easier. The final farewells always come as a loss for which we somehow feel unprepared. So when that time comes, as it has come to those of us who loved Christy, we turn to one another for some comfort. We turn to our traditions, our rituals of mourning, but we don't just come together to grieve. We come together to remember how blessed we've been, how blessed we are, because Christy was part of our lives for so long and gave of herself so abundantly. Our best gift to one another today and our best tribute to Christy, both now and in the future, is to hold her in our hearts and our memories as completely as possible. And through our memories, our stories, and our love, to give her back to one another again and again. So today, yes, we honor our sadness, but we also hold up for each other our gratitude and our joy. Pray with me, please. Dear God, we pray for the spirit of Christy, our beloved aunt and sister and friend. Take her into your arms and bring peace to her soul. We see at this time all of the beloved people who mourn her. Please uphold us through this sorrow and loss as we grieve and release this remarkable woman we love and shall so sorely miss. Be our strength at this time, that we might see the truth of the world as you created it, that there is no death, and Christy's spirit still lives, and in you we still live with her. And so it is. Blessed be. Blessed be. Christy is survived by her brothers, Ache, William, and Sterling Stossmeister, cousins Cindy Sherman, Lisa Ford, David Ford, Terry Driggers, and Bill Haynes, step-siblings John Davis, Dana Thomas, Jimmy Davis, Susan Jones, and Robbins Hall, and too many more to list who loved her as Aunt Christy. Please know that the hearts of everyone here are with you. Let the presence of these people here today and the prayers of those who can't be with you prove to you the high regard in which she is held. She made a difference. She touched our hearts. Our prayer for you is that this grief might move through you gently. May you hold in your minds forever the truth we agree on here today. Christy lives in the arms and in the mind of God. She lives on in spirit and shall never be forgotten.
As is our tradition at Sacred Path, we will now light the chalice. If we are lucky, we will all get a chance during our life to know someone who becomes for us an exemplar of living. And if we are really lucky, we will recognize how they ended up passing on some of their goodness to us. If we are lucky. But one thing is certain. No one of us entering this world can escape the cost of living. The price we pay is this. To live in this world, we must accept that someday we will have to die. To love what is alive, we must accept having to lose what we've made precious through our care. To be fully and fiercely human, we must accept having to be breakable and sometimes broken. When we stop to notice how Christy's life, how it gave us a path and a little light to see by, it encourages us all to carry that light forward. Though each of us carries forth in this world a small flame, we know that the ability of that light to brighten the world depends upon the many others who learn to walk with it in their hearts too. We light this chalice today to honor the life and living of a truly bright light, Christy Stossmeister. This is a prayer that was written by the members of Sacred Path. For the dancer who flowed with soulful abandon. O great mystery and spirit, show me dancing light as swirling flames dance through the sky like ethereal artists captive to their own internal rhythm. Like waters flowing, she played around the edges of our lives, a sparkling, bubbling, whirling eddy of wonder. Passed too soon, far too soon. For she who loved children and seniors and messy people and animals and earth and sky with childlike innocence, womanly wisdom, and purposeful, relentless abandon. Preach. As her stories unfold, we meet friends who bring us unexpected gifts. When the music finds my heart, may I dance as she did with love and joy. May I learn to sing and love without fear or hesitation. As night surrounds, may I and we delight in each other under the pale moonlight, twirling hand in hand, laughter and song filling the darkness, and as the day returns, may we choose again to love, to dance in the world's delights. Our hope is to remember to dance the way Christy taught us, freely and with abandon. When we dance, whether in body or in spirit, we will know she is dancing with us.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am?
Yes.
We ask that those who went before also dance us lovingly into all the unknowns of our lives. Great Creator, help us remember Christy is an ancestor watching over us, ready to help us find our way. Come here, sweetheart. May we carry her authenticity, boundless mind, deep dialogue, and physical energy with us every day of our lives. May all who knew her not be afraid to question the status quo.
Yes.
Or to speak on behalf of those who may be too afraid to question. May all who knew her take the time to be present to their own truth, every glorious, unique bit of it, and then to offer it up as the gift that it is without apology.
Yes. Yes.
When we remember Christy, help us remember her sense of justice, her sense of humor, and her loving hugs. May her authentic self always remind us of the summer of love. To give love and to receive love, risky, radical love. And thus, our journey is made richer for the time we traveled together. May joy surround us as we embrace the mystery, the depths of spirituality and love that is, Christy. For those of us who are left behind and left in pain, to everything there is a season. To those who are gathered here, in body or in spirit, to family of birth, family of choice. May we always remember that Christy showed us our dreams, our hopes, our music, movement, political and educational leanings and blockades. And all she asked in return for us to be our own authentic selves. May we always remember our beloved dancing, singing angel. Amen.
Amen.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Takwihase. All my relations. Our tradition at Sacred Path is to share our sorrows and happiness in community by tying string onto prayer sticks. These prayers become a visible and tangible reminder that we need to take care of and care for each other, the church, our neighborhoods, and world. Each year we burn them in a sacred fire. We have some baskets of string and sticks for you to tie your prayers onto now. Can we put half of them over on this side also? Thank you. We'll continue passing them through the service, and when everyone has had a chance to add their prayers, we'll place them on the altar. Sacred Path will care for these sticks until the time comes for us to release the prayers in the fire. Thank you so much for sharing. Amen.
Cradle me, oh dear This is called The Unbroken by Rashani Rhea. There is a brokenness out of which comes the unbroken, a shatteredness out of which blooms the unshatterable. There is a sorrow beyond all grief, which leads to joy, and a fragility out of whose depths emerges strength. There is a hollow space too vast for words, through which we pass with each loss, but out of whose darkness we are sanctioned into being. There is a cry deeper than all sound, whose serrated edges cut the heart, that we break open to a place inside that is unbreakable and whole, as we learn to sing.
Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things.
The Summer Day, also by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass. The one who is eating sugar out of my hand. Who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down. Who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down into the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me what it is that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life.
And this final reading is called Go Deeper Than Love. Go deeper than love, for the soul has greater depth. Love is like the grass, but the heart is deep, wild rock, molten yet dense and permanent. Go down to your deep old heart and lose sight of yourself, and lose sight of me, the me whom you turbulently loved. Let us lose sight of ourselves and break the mirrors. For the fierce curve of our lives is moving again to the depths, out of sight, in the deep living heart. a reading by B.H. Lawrence.
How do you sum up this life? I can give you facts. I can give you stories. But the only way to really sum up this life is for us to celebrate her life amongst us. I can tell you that she came into the world differently. She was born on February 29th, 1956. She was born to George and Mary Kay Stossmeister. As many of you know, Christy was a graduate of Butler University. Whoop, go Bulldogs. And she was employed as a supervisor for the House of Representatives phone center at the Indiana General Assembly. I giggle at the thought of that spirit at the Indiana General Assembly. But it also lifts my heart and gives me hope. She loved the Indianapolis Women's Chorus. She loved you. She was recognized, among other talents, as a dancer. She was a writer. If you've ever seen her sit down in a chair, you know she was a student of yoga. She loved nature. She loved language. She was a founding member of Sacred Path Unitarian Universalist Church, which, at its very beginning, was known as the free range you use. I've often wondered if she was the one who came up with that. She truly believed in a world that works for everybody. Her cousin, Terry Driggers, remembers her as a defender and an encourager in childhood and beyond. Christy, she says, taught me it was okay to go swimming and get wet. To play in the mud. To be crazy. To be whoever you were. She ignited that fire in me, and I've been able to pass that on to my kids. What a gift. Terry and Christy were both Pisces. They shared a love of the water and the beaches of Lake Michigan. Once, when Christy was staying up there with Terry and her kids, Terry asked Christy to take the kids for a walk before dinner. Christy jumped at the chance. 6 hours later, they had not returned. Terry was terrified that something terrible had happened, and so she called the police. It turns out that Christy and the kids were so caught up in their adventure that they lost track of time. Imagine that. When Terry indignantly asked Christy for an explanation, Christy's response was, "But we were exploring." Terry remembers, as many of us do, that Christy was almost always late to everything. Except a couple of weekends ago, when Terry's daughter graduated from Butler University. Christy was right on time for that. Christy's brother Ache remembers Christy as simply his best friend. Ache and his brother Will lived with Christy, and both valued the love and the support that she so freely offered. Ache said to me, "There are so many memories. What stands out are the lessons and the values that she instilled in me. When I moved to the United States, I was very young, and she helped me become the man I am today. She was like a mom to me, and I hope I can make her proud." He went on to say, she helped me through the hardest times when I was growing up. Christy was graceful, respectful, and never judged. She was a solid rock for me, a shoulder to cry on, and always wanted the best for us. She was a magical person for me and my family. We always knew of her, even though we didn't see her when we were very young. We knew we had a sister, and when we finally met her, he said we were immediately drawn by her bright light. She had strength that she shared with other people. I loved that she was always fully present when she was with you. And I think a lot of people can attest to that. When you were in a conversation with Christy, there were no phones. There were no distractions. Her focus was on you. Lori Sertoski, a member of Sacred Path, said of Christy, she said what she meant. She meant what she said. She never took anything lightly, and she showed up for the hard stuff. Christy believed in social justice and fairness and expressed those beliefs in so many ways. Her involvement with the Indianapolis Women's Chorus was one especially important way to raise her lovely voice. When she first joined the chorus, there was a get-to-know-you session. Don't get ahead of me, girls. Where members were to introduce themselves by explaining their favorite year and why that year was their favorite. Christy stood up and said, "My name is Christy, and my favorite year was 1969, the summer of love." Nobody ever forgot that introduction. Christy walked this earth for just over 60 years. She had a remarkable life. Like any person, she had her struggles. Her determination and kindness still live on right here in the people who loved her. Christy was, as all human beings are, a complicated individual. She knew a great many people, and she affected their lives in so many ways. I think you'll agree that she would have liked the fact that we can both cry and laugh in remembering her. I am reminded of a quote from Diane Archangel. She says, "Grief comes in one size, extra large. If we tuck it away in the bottom drawer where it never sees the light of day, it remains exactly the same. On the other hand, if we wear it, feel it, share it with others, it's likely that it will become faded, shrunk, and worn, or will simply no longer fit. When grief has served its purpose, only then are we able to recognize the many gifts we've gained." Christy Lynn Stossmeister's earthly life has ended, and we are all deeply saddened by her passing. Our world is a different place now that she's no longer in it. But we must remember that our lives are different and immeasurably enriched because she was here with us, because she walked with us, she sang with us, she danced with us.
Can everybody hear me? No? How about now? So I am Christy's niece, I'll say that. And I'm just going to kind of share some memories. I wrote it down because I'm going to cry. To my Aunt Christy, that's what I called her.
behalf of my entire family and everyone in this room, we really miss you a lot. She was a defender and an encourager and always stuck up for the little guy. You were so righteous and just this unbounded spirit. So very opinionated, the best kind of ways. She always stood up for what she truly believed to be right, even if it wasn't always popular. You had more passion and authenticity than anyone I have ever known or will ever meet, probably. And I will miss how you just light up a room as you fashionably late come in with this grand theatrical entrance. But she always had an excuse. That she was lost, even though she had been to my house how many times. I have many, many memories with her. But I think my favorite, only because it stuck with me forever, was actually at my grandmother's funeral. She was teaching me French to occupy the time because she said that you should make better use of it and not just sit here. And then one of my very distant relatives, whom honestly at this point I don't even remember, kind of interjected suddenly and said, "Oh, you're pretty and smart." And I just kind of politely smiled and then turned and noticed the horrified look and then she proceeds to reprimand said relative because that is apparently one of the most degrading things that could ever be said to a young woman. And she proceeded to say that, yes, she is beautiful, but for so many reasons, which included my intelligence and what was inside, because that was always what mattered. And that your intelligence has so much more substance and value in this life, and that is what you should take forward. In that moment, I learned a lot of things that have stuck with me my entire life. One, I'm really bad at French. Still not great at it. No, I learned on that day, don't take French in college. Two, don't take any shit from anyone. Christy stood by that and taught my mother that and has passed that on to myself and my sister and my niece. And three, to seek beauty in all aspects of your life and all of your surroundings. And to walk this earth seeking wisdom in your own strength. No one else's, because that is something that no one can ever take away from you. I'm sorry. So, as all of you now know, Christy was a graduate of Butler University, and as of 3 weeks ago, I am as well. Christy, among a lot of other individuals in this room, but Christy in particular, I have a huge thank you to say to her. And on graduation day, I could not say it enough. She was both extremely inspirational in my life, but also very instrumental in making that huge landmark of my life happen. And I could not have done it without her. It brings me so much joy knowing that she was able to watch me walk across that stage, and she was on time. But of course, we did not get through the 3-hour ceremony without her arguing with the security officer because he said, "No, ma'am, you cannot leave for a smoke break." But she did it. She got through. brings me so much joy to know that we will always share that bond. And I hope that she felt just a sliver of the proudness that I feel to be able to stand here, to have known her, and to call her my aunt and my friend.
She loved you so much.
I love you, Aunt Christy, and thank you for all that you have done for me in this life. And one day, we will be dancing again together soon. Thank you. I've got some right in my chair.
I just wanted to make sure you were good.
Hello. My name's Will. I think most of you know me by stories than by presence. Now I'm freezing up. Getting to know Christy. I think Christy and I shared so much that I didn't share with anybody else. Once we became part of each other's life, it didn't seem like it to many people. You know, you didn't see me hang around with her that much. You didn't see me here anywhere else, but I was with her at home. I was with her in our little adventures, going to Warsaw Park. I mean, I'm pretty sure you all heard stories, you know, and all that, but she was, to me, kind of hard to handle. So, you know, she had no problem busting into your boat, you know, like she would get into it, you know, she would take you out of whatever funk you were in, you know, she would help push through hardships, overcome fears and doubts, and all that, you know, as you all well know. For me, it was especially, it was very meaningful being with Christy after I left the military and being in a dark spot in life, again, a dark time. But she helped me overcome. And I did not thank her enough. She basically saved my life. And I will be forever in her debt. I tried to care for her as much as I could, you know, living with her. It was fun. It was hard at times. You get burned by her energy. It's like walking to the sun, you know. And she was not afraid of getting in your face. You know? But it was very interesting, and I learned a lot about myself through Christy. You know, people that know me, the very small circle that know me, I think realized that she really was a big part of me. She made me realize who I was and helped me realize a big part of who I was, or who I am. And she will be with me forever. I don't have, you know, I try to find in others what I had in Christy is going to be possible. You know, my stories of debauchery, my stories of adventure, my stories of evolution, of my intellectual development, and challenges and all that, just sharing with her as my brother does a lot of times. Again, I will forever be grateful, and I look upon you, upon everybody here, and I appreciate very much that you loved her and that you all care for her and that you gave her what I was never able to offer as the person that I am. But I like to think that I gave a part of myself and she appreciated it. And I will carry her with me everywhere I go. Thank you all.
Well, I have a hard job to follow Sammy and Will. I didn't prepare a long speech. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everyone that made it out here, and everyone that has reached out to me, and my family, and that has been with Christy her entire life. Her chorus family, her church family, her dance family, her politics family, her work family, her family, you know, her friends became her family. She never got married or had kids, but I believe that we are all who she came into union with. She was present with all of us. And she took care of us as, you know, we took care of her sometimes. My brain's all over the place, but I just wanted to share three things, or three moments about her life and my life, how it all happened. And I remember growing up in Honduras, Central America, and having two brothers, and we lived with our dad, who was hard-headed, just like Christy. But, you know, we didn't have what we wanted, but we had what we needed. But even through all that, I always wanted to have a sister. And there's one of the pictures up there that reminds me, it's a typical, you know, Christy that I remember her, with a 60s or 70s look and looking young and full of spirit. And I remember rustling through all my dad's stuff and always finding pictures of her and saying, I can't wait to meet my sister. And even though she met me when I was a little baby, I was like, I can't wait to meet her again and to share with her, and she's gonna be my sister, and I'm gonna tell her everything that I can't tell my brothers. And just like Mary said, you know, I moved here to the U.S. and, well, we moved here to the U.S. and she just had this energy that drew us to her. Scary. Scary, but at the same time, just you wanted more. You wanted to find out more. You wanted to know who she was and find out what sparked that light in her. And that's how, you know, we had this little dance, life dance, that she wanted to know us, but she was also scared of us her siblings. And I'm just glad that, you know, that same curiosity that she had was the same curiosity that I had, that I was curious about her. And I always, you know, I still remember calling her one time and she didn't believe it was us. And it's that curiosity that we shared that, you know, she had it and it's gonna stay with me forever. And that childish curiosity, that's what, you know, and I feel that hopefully I have the same thing, that she can approach someone and she's present with them and she just wants to know that person. And yeah, I could keep going forever, but that's how we met. That was the past. And then the present, which for me is the last 11 years that I got to share with her here in the US. It's a time that I believe God gave me with her after so many times that I prayed for my sister and prayed for meeting her and having her. God gave me not just a sister, but also a mom, because my mom left when I was 1, so she filled in those big shoes and didn't do it as a mom because she never wanted to feel old. And I remember calling her yes ma'am, and she quickly snapped at me and said, don't ever call me ma'am because I'm not old. Yeah, a late baby, so she was young. And throughout the 11 years, she was there for the good times, for the hard times, but then for the most memorable times. She was there when I enlisted in the Air Force. She was there when I graduated from the academy. She was there when I graduated from pilot training. But she's not like one of those people that's only there for the good times. I studied with her. We spent hours on the phone. And she was definitely my best friend that I shared with everything. And the last time that I was here, God allowed me to come for her last birthday. And I was able to share my deepest, darkest secret with her. And she didn't judge me. She saw my shortcomings. And she actually, I was more scared than she was of me, of what I had to tell her. And she just looked at me and that's it, that's all you had to say, and that was a present. She was my best friend, and I know that a lot of people might think she's hard-headed, she's tough, and she hurt sometimes. The things that she said, she was honest, but she meant what she said. And she said what she meant. And it was tough sometimes, but it's because she cared. And that's the present. And then for the future, like I said, she was a mother, and she filled those shoes for the last 11 years that I believe I was becoming the man that I am today. And those lessons, those values, those memories, they'll be with me forever. And know that in those values, she told me stories of everyone in here and how all of you affected her life. So, but they were good. And they taught me lessons that, you know, if I didn't learn them on my own, all of you played an important role in me learning those lessons. And the last thing that I'll say is, you know, she's left the physical world, but I really hope that she has touched your lives in one way or another, and that she stays in your heart, and that you honor her even in the smallest ways that you can. And know that if you ever want to talk about her, if you ever want to just say her name, or if you want a way to reach back to her, I'm always available. I might not be quirky or or funny, or witty,
Or smart.
or
Do you speak French?
And I hope that you will allow me to reach back to all of you, because you guys, all of you, are all I have left of her. In the physical world, I have the memories and everything that I share with her, but all of you is what I have left of her. I don't care about material things. I care about what you share with her and what you know of her. And I'm sorry if I ever call you late at night or but sometimes for the last few days, literally every night I've talked to somebody and they've shared something about her, and I really appreciate from everybody. And I'm just gonna end with a quote that I tried memorizing, and Christy also memorized it. We both worked on it. It's a quote by Marianne Williamson. It's called Our Deepest Fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within all of us. And as we let our light shine, like Christy let her light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And she really helped me with that. And I hope she helped all of you. And I appreciate all of you coming. In the program, it says that her family, we all thank you for coming. Material things, they come and go, but it's the memories and the love and the laughs. Even when you just want to just, grab her and tell her to, But thank you, and your laughs and everything. I just look at all of you, and I look at her, because this is a big community that she had. And I feel your love, and I feel your presence, and I'll never forget you guys coming here. And thank you.
Anything else from the family? Eric?
This is attributed to an unnamed Hopi elder from the Hopi Nation in Arizona. You have been telling the people that this is the 11th hour. Now you must go back and tell the people that this is the hour. And there are things to be considered. Where are you living? What are you doing? What are your relationships? Are you in right relation? Where is your water? Know your garden. It is time to speak your truth. Create your community. Be good to each other, and do not look outside of yourself for the leader. This could be a good time. There is a river flowing now very fast. It is so great and swift that there are those who will be afraid. They will try to hold on to the shore, they will feel torn apart and suffer greatly. No, the river has its destination. The elders say we must let go of the shore, push off into the middle of the river, keep our eyes open and our heads above water. And I say, see who is in there with you and celebrate. At this time in history, we are to take nothing personally, least of all ourselves. For the moment that we do, our spiritual growth and journey come to a halt. The time for the lone wolf is over. Gather yourselves. Banish the word struggle from your attitude and your vocabulary. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. We are the ones we've been waiting for.
I've known few souls in my life who had Christy's capacity to let go of the shore. I've had the privilege to make music with her for many years and to worship with her and to talk with her, and I have known few souls as awake in the world as Christy always was, always present, always willing to let go of the shore, always willing to surrender to what she was feeling. And she didn't care what any of the rest of us were thinking about it. And she liberated so many of us in doing that. She gave us all permission to be more authentic. And when I learned of the plans to scatter her remains in the river, I knew there was a song we needed to sing today. And we're going to invite you to sing along with us. The words are, listen, let your body be your guide. Lay yourself down in the rocks now. Let your body down in the river. Listen for the drumming on the other side. Lose yourself in the meantime. Listen, 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 listen.
join me in a moment of silent reflection. Blessed be. It is now time to extinguish the chalice. I would invite the family to come to the chalice and join with us as Franklin shares some words with us.
God is in the wax and smoke, the lingering scent of a fire now extinguished, still burning, brighter than ever.
Blessed be. Thank you all for coming to this service and for sharing your memories of Christy. Please join me in prayer. Mother, Father, God, we thank you for the life of Christy Lynn Stossmeister. We release her spirit to you and know that she lives in the hearts and the minds of all those she touched. Be with us in the coming weeks and months and years as we feel her loss from our daily lives. Help us heal and know the truth your servant Paul knew when he said, "For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. For now I know in part, but then I shall know even as also I am known." Bless us as we leave this place, and help us to know that your love carries us through each moment. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary.
to lead a dance after the service, this song came to me and I just knew there wasn't anything else that we could do. And think of Christy and just remember how alive she was and still is in our hearts, and to just celebrate the joy of being alive every day. And if you all come in close, arms around, I just have one other song I want to share. I don't have to worry about movements for this one, but I thought this would be a nice way to send people on their way. Sorry to have the
That's right.
May all be